Preliminary finals for the footy. We are one game away from the grand final, from the ultimate prize. We've got the final four teams. Sydney Swans, Port Adelaide Power, Geelong Cats, let's go Cats, and the Brisbane Lions. Going to be two awesome games this weekend, spanning over the 2 days. Glad that you're here. If you're watching us on YouTube, please like and subscribe, because that really helps us out. And follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter as well. And you can leave a comment on this. You can leave a review on Apple and Spotify as well, but also leave a comment on this. That'd be great. I'd love to get your props, your picks, and your best bets as well. We've got two very exciting games here. I'm sad that the footy season is officially winding down. We've gone through probably, what is this now, 27 rounds of football, but there's only one more until the penultimate. So we're going to have, we've got a couple of really, really good bets here for both games, and I think we're going to make some really good tickets. As always, never bet more than you can afford to lose, and help us out there if you need as well. If you've got a gambling problem, we'll have the disclaimers at the end of the show as well. But without further ado, let's get into these awesome, awesome games. We'll start in Sydney, between Sydney Swans, Port Adelaide Power, and I was all over the Port Adelaide Power last week, and they did come through in the end. It took a lot in the end, but they did get there. But I did suspect that they would have a bounce back game in that spot. And then Sydney obviously did not play last week. But look, let's get to this game. It's going to be a really interesting matchup. Swans are favourite 18.5 points, and the over-under is 168.5. So Swans are favoured by more than 3 goals. So that's interesting. I think this is going to be, I do think the Swans win this game. I don't see a world in which Port win it. The conditions going to be perfect. It's going to be sunny and 22 during the day. If we have a look at some of the injuries that the Swans are dealing with, not much. Joel Amati played last week. He should be in this game as well. And Braden Campbell, his groin issue, that should be good to go as well. For Port Adelaide, Ryan Burton, he was out last week. Sorry, he came back last week, but he was out before that. So he should be playing this game as well. Kane Farrell, he's done for the season. His hamstring is really that bad. Dan Houston will still be suspended. And Charlie Dixon is going to be dropped from this game as well. It's probably for the best. If we'll start with disposals for the Swans, we want to start with Chad Warner is the one that we really like in this spot. At 20 plus touches, you get him for $1.35, and he's been pretty consistent for the Swans. 27 disposals against the Giants, 22 against the Crows, 33 against the Pies as well. So he's been nothing but consistent, and he's had a really, really good season. So for 20 touches, that's a really easy one to tack on there. Matt Roberts, he called in the game against the Giants, 15 disposals in the end, and that could be due to Jake Lloyd coming in and having a huge game. Isaac Heaney as well. He took up a lot of the disposals as well. Only 4 Swans, though, against the Giants had more than 20 disposals, and Errol Goulden was one of them as well. He had 23 touches, so I expect that to regress more to the mean, and the average is usually about 6 players. So that's where I like Matt Roberts to get up again in this spot. But the disposal was hugely dispersed in that game against the Giants, which they came back and won. So I'm into the value there as well. $1.75 for Matt Roberts. So I'm into that. And then if you want to do a special combo here, so Isaac Heaney is $1.20 for 20 plus disposals. If you want to bet that up to 25, he's $1.85. So it's getting a bit more risky there. But if you did want to take him for the 20 plus touches and the anytime goal scorer, he's at $1.25 as well. So 20 and 1 goal, which is pretty good odds. He's had 31 goals from 56 shots at goal in the season, 174 score involvements as well. Model likes him to kick a goal in this spot, probably likes him the third most behind Errol Goulden, who's a bit more of a long shot. And Tom Papley as well, Model really likes as well. If you wanted to bet on Chad Warner, you could do that as well. $1.28 to kick a goal. He's had 32 goals from 57 shots at goal as well. So he's right around that mark as well. But he's not as much value that you'd be wanting to have there as well. So what's really interesting about the Swans and anytime goal scorers, for 2+ goals, there is like no one that absolutely stands out. And someone in this game is going to have 2 goals. I kind of want to take a look at like someone like Chad Warner, more so than maybe someone like Isaac Heaney, or you could even look at Logan McDonald, pretty good value as well. So if you want to make that bet, I would just do that as a single. I wouldn't put that in the ticket. but just for the one goal scorer into that. So someone's going to kick 2 goals. It's just a matter of who it is. We'll find out. We jump now to Port Adelaide. There's a little bit less value to be had on them. They've definitely subsided over the last couple of weeks as far as disposals, getters go. They had 4 players get more than 20 plus touches last week. Again, like I was saying, the Swans, it doesn't really happen very often for teams. Usually they sit around 6. If they're doing well, 7. If they're doing really well, you might get up as many as 10 for some teams like the Bombers, the Saints. The Cats did that a couple of times as well. The week before that as well, they had 4 as well. And then before that, they had 5. So it's really been funneled through. It's been quite dispersed, I will say. So it's been hard to get those 20 plus touches. But if you want to look at some value, a couple of players have lost value, have gained value by dropping a little bit, I should say. So Ollie Wines for 20 plus touches is $1.25. And he's basically been a lock for 20 plus touches for definitely like, what is that? 9 of the last 10 weeks. So I'm really into that value if you want to tack that on. The one that I'm kind of interested in for a bit more of a long shot, but Chase Burgoyne at $1.75 to get 20 plus touches. I'm willing to take that bet. 25 disposals last week in a great game against the Hawks. Week before he played bad against the Cats, but who on Port Adelaide didn't. And then before that, 20 disposals, 22 and 21 before that. So for $1.75, I want to play that. That's definitely a good angle that I'm looking at there. Couple of other players, if you wanted to look their way. So Ryan Burton should be back in this game, potentially. Check the lineup, but he could be a value. The other one, model likes Logan Evans, has been playing a lot better this week. But no, that I want to go through Ollie Wines and potentially Chase Burgoyne is the way I want to look at. For the disposals, for anytime goal scorer for Port Adelaide. So we're all over Mitch Georgiades last week for 2+ goals, and that came through. And hell, I really would not mind going back to Mitch Georgiades again. Model, it doesn't stand out as a screaming value, but that's because he's so accurate. He's been a little bit in and out of the lineup all year, but 43 goals from 73 shots at goal. And I don't mind him to kick the 2 goals. For Jason Horne-Francis, anytime goal scorer, $1.45. Look, it's not bad. And he's had at least 1 goal in each of the last 5 games. He's even had 2 goals in some spots. But this matchup against the Swans, this is a tough one. I'm actually probably going to stay off a lot of the Port players and mainly stay on the Swans for this one, especially with that over-under, the line differential, which has actually gone down to 17.5, even as I've been recording this show. So a little bit of money coming on the Port Adelaide, which is interesting to see. All right, let's take a look at the Saturday twilight game. This one's going to kick off at about 5:30 Australian Eastern Standard Time. This one is at the MCG. It's going to be an epic. Geelong Cats, Brisbane Lions preliminary final. Winner is through to the grand final. Tough spot for Brisbane Lions. They had an enormous game last week and an all-time comeback. I was trying to compare it to some of my friends in Canada who are more into NFL. I compared it to when the Green Bay Packers in 2013, the NFC Conference Championship, went to Seattle. Seattle came back in like the 4th quarter with 10 minutes to go, took it to overtime and went through to the Super Bowl. That's kind of what last week was to me in my mind for the Brisbane Lions, which was really interesting to see. This one, Geelong is favourite, 4.5 points. The over-under sitting at 170.5. So a little bit of an increase there, which is interesting to see. So I guess they expect a little bit more scoring in this one. Brisbane have had a tough time at the MCG. It has to be said, they did beat Collingwood earlier this year at the MCG, but before that, their record has been absolutely shocking. And I reckon a lot of energy would have gone into last week into winning that game. So I do kind of favour the Cats a little bit in this spot. Cats have done a really fantastic job at dispersing the ball around. Against Port Adelaide, they had 6 players get over 20 plus touches. Against West Coast in the last round, around 24, they had 9 players get more than 20 plus touches. So we'll see what happens with the Brisbane Lions, who this should be a fairly high scoring game. I think both teams will score high. I think both teams will come out firing though as well. We know that Brisbane sort of tend to drop off in the 3rd and 4th quarters, which is going to be problematic for them because the Cats play really well in the 4th quarter. Cats are definitely a 4th quarter team, so they'll come home firing as well. So with that said, we're going to start with disposals for the Cats, considering they're the home team. And Model loves the most. This is absolutely nuts. Zach Guthrie, for 20 plus touches, you can get him at $2.10. He had 27 disposals last week. Sorry, in the game against Port Adelaide. 24 the week before that. He did have 15, but then 20 before that. So he's actually been pretty good for 20 plus disposals. It's not been too hard for him to get. And this strikes me as a spot where he could get up again. So, I mean, maybe we just take that as a single. For $2.10, that is not bad at all. There's some similar value in there with Brian Myers as well, who's been good over the last few weeks. 21 disposals last time, 22 the week before that. Had a down game as well. I think everyone had a down game against that Saints team that got over in the end. And then 23 the week before that. He's also $2.10. Similarly with these midfielders, so Max Holmes, Patrick Dangerfield, Tom Stewart, I really like all of those, man. And they're between $1.27 and $1.35. I'm really into that. You know, they've got Mitch Duncan listed at $1.85 for 20 plus disposals. He hasn't gotten close to that at all in the back half of the season. So I don't know why anyone would want to bet that. Could even take a shot at Tanner Bruin. Man, there's so many good options here for the Cats as well. So expect that to get up. Model does really like Max Holmes. Hang on, let me do this. Okay, but yeah, I actually don't think Tom Stewart at $1.35 for 20 plus disposals is very good value. I know that they rested him. It seems like they rested him against Port Adelaide. And then they did rest him as well the week before that against the Eagles. And then since then, like, he's kind of been a bit hit or miss. So I'm just not really seeing why he would be such low value for the 20 disposals. Patrick Dangerfield strikes me. He is all finals, man. If you want to bet on Patrick Dangerfield in the finals, you've got my absolute tick of approval there. All right, let's look at anytime goal scorers for the Cats. And I got to say, there's going to be only one guy that we'll ever look at in this spot. We've always looked at him all season long. He's been amazing since they moved him back up forward. It's Jeremy Cameron for 2+ goals. You're only going to get $1.40 from him. He had four goals in that game against Port Adelaide. He had 9 against the Eagles, hit 3 against the Saints. I don't care. I still really like him. And I love him in this spot for 2+ goals. That's a great pick. Do you want to look at Tyson Stengel for 2 goals at $1.85? I kind of don't. He had 4 against Port Adelaide, but they dominated them against Port Adelaide. Sure, Shannon Neale, you get $2.15 for 2 goals. I'm not going anywhere near that. I would move into the anytime goal scorers in this spot. I don't believe we're going to see Tom Hawkins play in this game, from what I understand. He's not even listed in the lines. So for 1 goal, for anytime goal scorer, Ollie Henry, Shannon Neale, Model would prefer that you go with Ollie Henry, just by a tiny little bit there, tiny little bit over Shannon Neale, probably because he's had a few more shots at goal and he was a little bit inconsistent earlier in the year. Brad Close is $1.57 for anytime goal scorer. Do not go anywhere near that. He hasn't kicked a goal in months. I don't even know why he's that little value. Brian Myers had 3 goals against Port Adelaide. Not going anywhere near that. Nah, that's the way I'm going to play it. I'm going to go Jeremy Cameron for the 2 goals. And if I had to bet anyone, I might go Shannon Neale for the 1 goal at $1.22. I think that's good value. Sean Manor, $1.36 as well for a goal there. All right, we'll finish up with the Brisbane Lions. And like I said, they were incredible last week against the Giants. That comeback was all time. Lachie Neale was we were tossing up between Lachie Neale and Dayne Zorko for 25+ disposals. We jumped on Dayne Zorko, finally jumped off Lachie Neale, and that was the play. Lachie Neale finished with 19 disposals. He didn't even get to the 20 that you would have needed. And Zorko finished with exactly 25. The sweat was real, but they came back. I think Zorko had something like 1 disposal in the first quarter, and then he just absolutely came alive, lit the world on fire. So we're happy to see that. Hugh McCluggage had a really good game. Will Ashcroft, 27 disposals. He was in our ticket, and that came through. So I was stoked to see that as well. Will Ashcroft has been an absolute gun. So in this game against the Cats, I think Model really likes Lachie Neale the most at $1.65 for 20+ touches. Also really likes Dayne Zorko. I'm wondering, so Cats are not a very good centre midfield team. They're not a very good clearance team either. I'm not going to jump on Hugh McCluggage or Josh Dunkley. I've told you to stay off those guys for a while now, and that's paid off. Let's have a look at the 20 disposals mark. So Will Ashcroft for 20+ touches, $1.37. That's a bet that you can lock in. He's doing very well. Hugh McCluggage you can get for $1.20 for 20 plus touches. Model does actually quite like that for 20 plus touches. He's usually good for that. So maybe you could play it that way, because now that we're getting up to the 25 disposals, that's where it starts to get a little bit iffy. So let's play it those ways. And then we've also been on Joe Daniher for 2+ goals last few weeks, and that's really, really come through for us. So I want to stay in the Flames with that. Do I? No, I'm going to stay with Jeremy Cameron on the 2+ goals. I'm going to stay off Joe Daniher for 2+ goals. I think he might actually struggle against this Cats defense, especially at the MCG. So if we're going to look for anytime goal scorer, we've been on Kai Lohmann each and every week. And at $1.35 for anytime goal scorer, I'm into this. I like this one. We jumped off Cam Rayner last week, and that was the right move. He didn't kick anything. He's been really up and down, really inconsistent there. So let's take a look at, let's go Kai Lohmann for the anytime goal scorer. Let's mainly focus on Jeremy Cameron, though, as well, and potentially maybe a little bit of Shannon Neale. All right, so let's take a look at these tickets. So for the Port Adelaide, for the Sydney Swans game, we want to go with, let's go, Chad Warner, 20+ disposals. Lock that one in. Matt Roberts, 20+ disposals as well. And for anytime goal scorer, we're going to jump back on Chad Warner for anytime goal scorer in that one. We like those three. If you want to tack on any Port Adelaide, like I mentioned, bit of a longer shot, Chase Burgoyne for 20+ disposals. Let's take a look at that one I quite like. But I think that this one's mostly going to be all over them in this spot. So let's just go with that for now. And for the Geelong Cats and the Brisbane Lions game, so we are going to go with, for 20+ touches, I'm going to probably do a single for that Zach Guthrie one. I'm not going to put that in a complete ticket. I'm going to go with Max Holmes, 20+ touches, Patrick Dangerfield, 20+ touches, Jeremy Cameron, 2+ goals, Kai Lohmann, I'll also want to look at for anytime goal scorer, and I also want to take a look at Will Ashcroft, 20+ touches in that one as well. That's going to do it for another edition of the footy. We are almost there. We've got one game to go. After this weekend, it's going to be the grand final, and we're going to have an epic show for you as well. Thank you so much for joining us this season. It's been an amazing season. It's been really, really fun to bring you these videos finally after many years of planning. If you're still watching us on YouTube, please like and subscribe. Really helps us out. Leave a comment as well. I want to know what your best bets are as well. You'll see a couple of bets that we'll have up on Reddit as well. You can follow us on Reddit, where all our latest bets go with Sully as well. But enjoy the games this weekend. Look out for the Sunday Slate episode. We'll be back with that as well. And until next week, enjoy the games. Goodbye for now. I gotta bring it from now, baby. Gotta get some work done, baby. Gotta waste away the afternoon. Don't let the game play you. Stay in control. Gamble responsibly. In Australia, phone 1-800-858-858 for free and confidential support. In Canada, learn about safer play at Know the Risks from the Responsible Gambling Council at knowtherisks.ca. In America, must be 21 or older and present in Arizona. Gambling problem, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT-STEP to 53342. Colorado, gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700. Connecticut, if you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat. In Illinois, Maryland, New Jersey, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Virginia, and West Virginia, call 1-800-GAMBLER. In Indiana, gambling problem, call 1-800-9-WITH-IT. Kansas, gambling problem, getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com. Louisiana, if you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-877-770-STOP. In Massachusetts, call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support. Play it smart from the start or call 1-800-GAM-1234. In Michigan, gambling problem, call 1-800-270-7117 for confidential help. In New York, for help with a gambling problem, call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. Tennessee, gambling problem, call Tennessee Redline 1-800-889-9789. Wyoming, gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700. Prop Nation betting show is for entertainment purposes only and should in no way be considered financial advice.